XT Federal Courthouse. A massive crowd has gathered outside the grand stone-clad courthouse. Reporters scramble, cameras flash, and murmurs ripple through the spectators. The reason? One of the most controversial lawsuits of the decade. Elon Musk versus the state. Reporter. 1. On camera. Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur, is about to face a judge known for his ruthless crackdowns on corporate defiance. Will Musk's reputation for outsmarting the system hold up in court? Cut to into courtroom. Same time, the atmosphere is tense. The courtroom is packed with legal experts, journalists, and curious onlookers. At the front, Judge Henry Kaplan, a stern, no-nonsense figure in his 60s, glances over his glasses at the defendant. Elon Musk, clad in a sharp navy suit, unfazed, leaning back with an almost amused expression. Judge Kaplan, Mr. Musk, this court has reviewed the evidence. Your company has repeatedly ignored regulatory mandates, and today, we are holding you accountable. Musk, expression unreadable, steeples his fingers. His high-powered legal team remains silent. This is a game of patience. Prosecutor Benson, a sharp but slightly smug government attorney, rises from his seat. Prosecutor Benson. Your Honor, the defendant's actions demonstrate a blatant disregard for authority. We recommend the maximum financial penalty, $200 million in fines. A collective gasp spreads across the room. Even Musk's closest aides exchange worried glances. But Musk? Still unfazed. A smirk tugs at the corner of his lips. Judge. Kaplan nods, tapping his gavel. Judge Kaplan. Very well. This court finds Elon Musk and his company guilty of non-compliance. The fine shall be imposed immediately. The courtroom erupts in murmurs. The media frenzy intensifies outside. But instead of concern, Musk finally leans forward, his voice calm but calculated. Elon Musk. Your Honor, with all due respect, you might want to check the fine print before you celebrate. Judge Kaplan's brow furrows. The entire courtroom falls silent. Musk slides a neatly folded document across the table to his lead attorney, who hands it to the judge. Judge Kaplan unfolds the paper, skims it, then stops. His face drains of color. His grip on the document tightens. Judge Kaplan whispers, "This can't be right." The audience leans in. Even Prosecutor Benson's smug expression falters. Reporter number 2, whispering to colleague. What did Musk just pull? Musk leans back again, the smirk returning. Elon Musk, let's just say, I read the law more carefully than you did. Int. Courtroom. Moments later, the tension in the room thickens as Judge Kaplan shifts in his seat. He clears his throat, masking his unease, and adjusts his glasses. Judge Kaplan. Mr. Musk, this court does not appreciate grandstanding. Your legal maneuvering does not exempt you from the consequences of your actions. Prosecutor Benson seizes the moment, stepping forward with renewed confidence. Prosecutor Benson. Your Honor, Mr. Musk's companies have a history of skirting regulations and evading accountability. We cannot allow billionaires to manipulate the law at their convenience. He turns toward the audience, knowing the cameras are rolling, playing up the righteous prosecutor role. Musk remains composed, fingers drumming lightly on the table. Elon Musk, I'd like to remind the court that laws apply to everyone equally, including government entities. Judge Kaplan shoots him a glare. Judge Kaplan. You're in no position to dictate terms, Mr. Musk. The court has ruled, and you will comply. Murmurs ripple through the audience. Musk's lead attorney, Victor Langston, a seasoned but quiet strategist, leans in and whispers something in Musk's ear. Musk nods subtly. Judge Kaplan commented, if you wish to challenge this ruling, file an appeal through the appropriate channels. Until then, this discussion is over. Elon Musk. Understood, Your Honor. But if I may, I'd like to clarify something for the court. Judge Kaplan sighs, clearly irritated. Judge Kaplan. Make it quick, Mr. Musk. Musk stands, straightens his suit, and looks directly at the judge. Elon Musk. This fine is based on a regulatory mandate that, as of last month, no longer holds legal standing due to a federal override. The very basis of this case is outdated. Gasps erupt throughout the courtroom. Benson stammers, flipping through his legal papers, searching for a counter-argument. Judge Kaplan glares at Musk's legal team, knowing he's been cornered but unwilling to admit it. Prosecutor Benson. Objection. That information was never submitted into evidence. Victor Langston. Actually, it was. Page 27 of the Mindra defense's pretrial brief. It appears the prosecution neglected to review it. Benson's face burns red. Judge Kaplan grips his gavel but hesitates. The room is on edge. The injustice of the situation is clear. Musk was fined based on a regulation that legally no longer exists. Musk sits down, cool and collected, watching the prosecution scramble. He doesn't need to argue further. The facts are already speaking for him in courtroom. Later that day, Judge Kaplan's grip tightens on the document as he processes Musk's words. A flicker of doubt crosses his face, but he quickly masks it with authority. Judge Kaplan. This court will not be manipulated, Mr. Musk. Your theatrics won't change the facts. Musk tilts his head, an eyebrow raised. He remains calm, but his legal team begins whispering among themselves, strategizing. Prosecutor Benson. Your Honor, I move that the court disregard this so-called fine print. Musk's tactics are a blatant attempt to evade justice. Judge Kaplan straightens, nodding. Judge Kaplan. Agreed. The penalty stands. Musk finally sits forward, his voice edged with steel. Elon Musk. Are we ignoring due process now? Because if so, I'd love to see how that plays in the appeals court. A murmur spreads through the courtroom. Kaplan's eyes narrow. Judge Kaplan. You think your money makes you untouchable, Mr. Musk? Musk shakes his head, his smirk vanishing. Elon Musk. No, Your Honor. The law does. And I make sure to know it, better than anyone in this room. The tension thickens. Prosecutor Benson steps forward aggressively. Prosecutor Benson. This man has a history of defying regulations. He flaunts power, disregards mandates, and then hides behind technicalities. Judge Kaplan. And that is exactly why we will ensure justice is served. Judge Kaplan leans forward, eyes locked on Musk. Judge Kaplan. In light of your continued defiance, I am escalating this case. If necessary, we will move forward with a deeper investigation into your business dealings. A ripple of shock moves through the courtroom. Musk's legal team tenses. Elon Musk. So this isn't about justice, it's about making an example out of me. Kaplan's silence speaks volumes. Cut to NT. Musk's private office. Night Musk sits in his high-rise office, staring out at the city skyline. His closest advisors surround him. Legal advisor. They're not just fining you anymore. They want blood. Musk leans back, eyes calculating. Elon Musk. Then we give them something they can't fight. His fingers drum against the desk. A plan is forming. Int. Courtroom. Later that day, the tension in the room is palpable. Judge Kaplan grips the document Musk handed him, his fingers trembling slightly. The court reporter's keyboard clicks, echo in the silence as everyone waits for the judge's reaction. Kaplan clears his throat, regaining composure. He adjusts his glasses and looks at Musk, his tone colder now. Judge Kaplan. Mr. Musk, explain yourself. Musk remains relaxed, exuding an air of confidence that only infuriates the judge further. Elon Musk. I'd love to, Your Honor. But first, perhaps you'd like to read Section 47, Clause 8 of the regulatory mandate in question? Judge Kaplan hesitates. He scans the document again. His jaw tightens. The courtroom watches in suspense. Prosecutor Benson. Your Honor, if I may. Kaplan holds up a hand to silence him. He exhales sharply and finally speaks. Judge Kaplan. It appears there's a clause in the law stating that in cases where compliance conflicts with innovation benefiting the public, penalties may be waived if proof of said benefit is provided. The room is stunned. Murmurs ripple through the audience. Prosecutor Benson, this is a technicality. It doesn't excuse his blatant disregard for the rules. Musk leans forward now, his voice as sharp as a blade. Elon Musk, it's not a technicality, counselor, it's the law. And guess what? I provided proof months ago. Gasps fill the courtroom. Benson flips through his notes in a panic. Judge Kaplan, lips pressed together in frustration, turns to the prosecutor. Judge Kaplan, is this true, Mr. Benson? Benson swallows hard, flipping pages in a frenzy. He suddenly stops. His face drains of color. Prosecutor Benson mutters. The files were submitted, but flagged as pending review. The realization sinks in. The court had ignored Musk's submission. The government had tried to railroad him without due process. Kaplan clenches his jaw, then slams his gavel. Judge Kaplan, this court will take a recess. As the judge exits, the murmurs turn into chaos. The media smells blood. Benson wipes his brow, looking shaken. Meanwhile, Musk remains calm, checking his watch. He stands, buttoning his jacket, and gives a knowing glance to his legal team. Elon Musk shows just getting started. INT. Courtroom. Continuous Judge Kaplan's hands tremble slightly as he rereads the document. The murmurs in the courtroom grow louder. Judge Kaplan. This contradicts the case presented by the prosecution. Prosecutor Benson, his confidence shaken, snatches the document from the judge's hands and scans it. His face twists in disbelief. Prosecutor Benson, impossible. This law was revised last year. Musk chuckles, shaking his head. Elon Musk. Oh, it was. But you see, gentlemen, there was a tiny clause, page 472, subsection C, that states regulatory penalties cannot be enforced on a company that has actively invested in government-approved infrastructure projects exceeding $5 billion in a fiscal year. A collective gasp ripples through the room. Judge Kaplan. This can't be right. This law was meant to prevent excessive corporate loopholes. Musk tilts his head, feigning innocence. Elon Musk. And yet, here we are. Tesla has committed over $6 billion in renewable energy initiatives this year alone. The fine you've imposed is, well, legally void. Prosecutor Benson turns pale, scrambling through his own notes. His fingers tremble as he flips page after page. The realization dawns on him like a thunderclap. Prosecutor Benson mutters. He's right. Judge Kaplan's grip tightens on the gavel. His expression is unreadable. The gallery is a mix of shock, admiration, and disbelief. Reporters furiously type updates. Journalist number 1, whispering. Musk just pulled off the greatest legal maneuver of the decade. Journalist number 2. This isn't just a technicality. He's legally untouchable. A slow grin spreads across Musk's face as he adjusts his tie. Elon Musk. Now if we're done here, I have rockets to launch. Courtroom. Moments later, the tension in the courtroom is suffocating. Judge Kaplan, still gripping the document, glares at Musk. He clears his throat, but the power dynamic has already shifted. Judge Kaplan. Mr. Musk, I demand an immediate explanation. Musk crosses his legs, his voice measured. Elon Musk. Well, Your Honor, you see, this fine, $200 million, is based on outdated regulatory laws. My legal team found a loophole in a recent amendment. Technically speaking, you don't have the jurisdiction to enforce it. A shocked murmur spreads. Prosecutor Benson slams his palm on the table. Prosecutor Benson. That's absurd. We conducted thorough legal review. Musk shrugs. His attorney, Sarah Miller, a sharp-witted legal expert, stands. Sarah Miller. With all due respect, counselor, you didn't conduct it well enough. Per Section 142B of the Revised Corporate Compliance Act, the fine can only be imposed under specific conditions, none of which apply to my client. Judge Kaplan quickly flips through legal documents, sweat forming on his brow. The courtroom watches in stunned silence. Benson clenches his jaw. Judge Kaplan, this is impossible. Musk tilts his head. Elon Musk. Not impossible, just inconvenient for you. Benson, desperate, scrambles to find a counter-argument. Prosecutor, Benson, there has to be a mistake. A technicality won't save you from contempt of court, Mr. Musk. Musk leans forward, his smirk gone. Elon Musk. I don't need a technicality. I need the truth. And the truth is, you tried to find me on false grounds. The weight of Musk's words hangs in the air. Judge Kaplan exhales sharply, his grip on his gavel tightening. The balance of power has shifted. In Courtroom. Moments later, the courtroom is silent. Judge Kaplan's hands tremble as he rereads the document. A bead of sweat forms at his temple. He clears his throat and looks up at Musk, his previous authority now crumbling. Judge Kaplan. Mr. Musk, would you care to explain this? Musk rises slowly, adjusting his cufflinks with precision. The room watches in anticipation. Elon Musk. Certainly, Your Honor. You see this fine you've imposed? It directly conflicts with an obscure yet ironclad federal statute regarding government-imposed sanctions on private aerospace enterprises. He gestures to the document. Elon Musk. In layman's terms, the law states that any fine exceeding a certain threshold for a company actively contributing to national defense and space exploration must be reviewed by a special oversight committee before enforcement. And guess what? He leans forward, voice dripping with confidence. Elon Musk. That review hasn't happened. A ripple of shock spreads through the courtroom. The prosecution looks panicked, flipping through their own paperwork. Prosecutor Benson. This is absurd. The law is outdated. It hasn't been used in decades. Musk shrugs. Elon Musk. Outdated, but still in effect. And that means... He turns to Judge Kaplan, who looks utterly defeated. Elon Musk. Your ruling is legally unenforceable. The courtroom erupts in whispers. Reporters frantically type, their faces alight with the biggest headline of the year. Judge Kaplan exhales slowly, his authority slipping. Finally, after a long pause, he sighs heavily and slams the gavel down. Judge Kaplan, this court acknowledges the legal loophole. The imposed fine is void. Case dismissed. The moment hangs in the air before chaos ensues. Reporters shout questions. The prosecution sits in stunned silence. And Musk? He simply turns, nods to his team, and walks out untouchable. As Musk exits the courtroom, a young law student in the audience watches in awe, whispering to his friend, "Law student. He didn't just win. He dismantled the system." Courtroom. Later that day, Judge Kaplan grips the document tightly, his face pale. The room is dead silent. Prosecutor Benson is flipping through his own copy of the contract, his confidence completely shattered. Judge Kaplan. This clause. How did we miss this? Musk finally speaks with an air of amusement but precision. Elon Musk. You didn't miss it, Your Honor. You just never expected anyone to challenge it. The document reveals a loophole, buried in regulatory law, one that Musk had predicted years ago and meticulously planned for. Not only is the fine unenforceable, but the state may now owe Tesla compensation for wrongful litigation. The courtroom erupts in murmurs and whispers. Reporters frantically type updates. Prosecutor Benson, sweating, stammers, searching for a counter-argument but finding none. Prosecutor Benson. Your Honor, this must be some kind of manipulation. Judge Kaplan. This is your law, counselor. And Mr. Musk exploited it masterfully. Kaplan exhales, realizing he has no choice. His gavel hovers, then finally slams down. Judge Kaplan. This court rescinds the fine against Mr. Musk. Furthermore, a formal review will be conducted on regulatory enforcement policies. Musk simply nods, his expression unchanged. The moment is his victory, but he never gloats. Instead, he gathers his papers and calmly rises from his seat. Cut to XT Courthouse. Moments later. The doors swing open. Musk steps out, greeted by A barrage of flashing lights and shouting reporters. Reporter number 1, Mr. Musk, what do you have to say about the court's decision? Musk adjusts his cufflinks, looks at the cameras, and replies simply, Elon Musk, read the fine print. With that, he walks toward his sleek Tesla Cybertruck, stepping inside as the door shuts with a futuristic hiss. As he drives away, the news headlines begin to update in real time. Elon Musk outsmarts court, case dismissed, legal masterstroke. How Tesla avoided a $200 million fine. Judge Kaplan faces criticism for overlooking corporate law. Cut to int. Judge Kaplan's chambers. Night Judge Kaplan sits at his desk, staring at the contract. The realization of his oversight weighs heavily. His once unshakable reputation now tarnished, he reaches for his whiskey glass, contemplating the career-altering consequences. Ext. SpaceX headquarters. NIDA, sprawling futuristic campus under a starlit sky. Inside, Musk stands before a glass wall, gazing out at a SpaceX rocket ready for launch. The reflection of city lights flickers across his expression. Thoughtful, victorious. A documentary-style voiceover begins, narrator, VO. Power is not about money. It's about knowledge, strategy, and an unrelenting will to challenge the system. Cut to montage. Media reactions. News anchors debate Musk's legal maneuver. Social media explodes with reactions, some hailing him as a genius, others branding him as untouchable. A government official reluctantly signs a new legislative amendment, closing the very loophole Musk used to win. Cut to int. Courtroom. Earlier that day. Judge Kaplan, visibly shaken, adjusts his glasses and sighs. Judge Kaplan. This court acknowledges that, due to the legal structure in place, Mr. Musk is in fact exempt from the fines imposed. Gasps and whispers. Musk stands up, buttoning his jacket. Elon Musk. Next time, Your Honor. Read the fine print. He turns, walking out of the courtroom. Reporters bombard him with questions, but he simply smirks and enters his Tesla, driving off. Cut to back to present. Space. X headquarters. Musk checks his watch. A countdown begins on a nearby screen. A smile plays on his lips. Narrator, VO, rules are meant to be challenged, and sometimes the smartest person in the room rewrites them.